One, Kiss FM, here with my tag team partner in podcasting, the Ramblin' One, luscious Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Good morning. We have Raw in the book.
Yeah. So last night left me with a surge of emotions, my friend. Go ahead.
Well, did you like the show in general? Because I did. I thought it was a solid show, and it had one breakout moment for sure.
I did not like the show last night. I thought the show was so much garbage, and you had one shining moment. We must be talking about the same thing, but we're
definitely talking about the same thing. I guess why I thought it was solid was, I mean, it wasn't anything super bad. I thought the main event, just like every time they put a women's match at the main event, was like nothing to write home about. It could have gone in the middle. You knew what was going to happen at the end after she won and Nia Jax came out.
I've got mixed opinions about that too, because, well, for starters, I'm frustrated. Okay, I'm happy that Alexa Bliss is the champ again because I think she's the best on the show right now, and she's the only one doing something a little bit different, and I'm behind her. But it's really frustrating to me how this title's being handled.
Oh, it's just being thrown around, hot potato. It's a hot potato. So I didn't love that, but it was okay. And the Battle Royal was like boring Battle Royal, but I really like who won it because I think it sets up an interesting matchup and a possible angle for the Hardys that they're going to visit at some point. So that was okay. I don't think I call a lot of it garbage.
I didn't love the Battle Royal. I mean, I have no problem with Jeff Hardy. I feel like a feud with Jeff and The Miz, if it is going to be a feud, is weird. I feel like the Hardys are doing a tag team thing right now. I mean, where do you see that going? Interesting.
I see the Jason Jordan thing progressing, but I see them not having Jason Jordan win much. And because if you notice, every time they mention that kind of stuff to Kurt Angle is always like, well, you learn from your failures. And he's almost becoming disappointed in his son for not winning these matches. I think that's where they're heading with the Jason Jordan thing. It set up more Bray Wyatt, Finn Balor, which I'm okay with. It progressed a lot of things, I thought. And I don't know, Jeff Hardy fighting The Miz, it could be worse.
I suppose. Did anything else up on the show jump out at you as being good besides the one segment?
No, not really. Nothing struck me as like great, but it wasn't a bad. I didn't think it was garbage. I wouldn't call any of it garbage, but I wouldn't call any of it great.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Except the one segment, which made me sit up. I was kind of in a boring stupor, and then I sat up and was like, "Oh, whoa, what?"
Yeah, there was a moment where you're right. I was in a boring stupor. I was kind of zoned out, and then I don't remember exactly what the moment was. But there was a moment where I was like, oh my, I should be watching this.
I should be paying better attention to this.
And so we must be talking about John Cena and Roman Reigns having one of the most exciting contract signings in the history of contract signings.
Absolutely ever. I thought when they first announced they were doing a contract signing, I'm like, boy, they really rushed this match, didn't they? This is going to be a turd. And then they both come out to booze, and I'm like, I don't know how they're going to get the crowd into this. And then, shoot city.
I don't know when this train went off the rails or if this was what the design was. But if you want to know my favorite moment, maybe of Raw so far this year, Jer, there was a moment when Roman got shook. And
he forgot. He says, first, you suck. Second, and then he just couldn't come up with words.
He got so shook by Cena. And Cena, by the way, is on his game. Like, Cena was already on fire, and then Reigns came up empty-handed when he was looking for words, and Cena just took the ball and ran with it. And, like, you can't be mad if you're Roman because someone had to save it.
It's called a promo, and if you're going to be the guy in this business, you better learn how to cut one. I was like, oh, my God, holy smokes.
Yeah, man. So I've been a little upset with myself. One time on a podcast, you mentioned that for the year-end awards that we do, the posties, you kind of keep a kind of a running tab of your favorite promos.
Yeah.
Because when the years end, you never know what your favorite promo was, so you try to keep a note of the noteworthy ones.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? That's a really good idea. I should probably start doing that. But the year's halfway over, whenever you said the comment at that point, maybe the best promo is already come and gone. Well, last night took care of that.
It really did. It certainly took the Festival of Friendship and pushed it down the list a bit.
You know what, Miz? You did a really good job with the total Cena episode, the total Bellis thing or whatever you did, but it's nice knowing you because John Cena happened.
Hey, Samoa Joe, remember when you whispered into Paul Heyman's ear and dropped the mic and we really thought that was a great moment? Yep, not on the list anymore. I mean, it was a great promo, but in a way, it was also a bad promo for Roman because Roman he sucked there a couple times. He recovered. I thought he recovered really nicely, and he finally started showing some emotion. I think he got legit mad.
Yes. I was talking to Brett while this was going on, and my statement was, it is probably a good thing that they went right into a match from that promo because I bet you had they just gone to the back, it would have been ugly.
You think it would have been? So you don't think that this was a worked shoot? Because I keep going back and forth with
it. Is. This is a great example of a work shoot.
So why do you think it would be bad in the back?
Because Roman got thrown off and Cena capitalized on it. And I'm not saying it's Cena's fault, but I'm just saying I think it would have gotten ugly. I think they both went to places they didn't really want the other one to go to, and they kind of got to, can you top this as far as breaking the fourth wall goes? But again, I think that it was in the spirit of the feud.
Yeah, I mean, this is it made it interesting, and it made me really interested to see this fight and see this match and see the promos that come from it the next couple of weeks. Like, I hope they continue to shoot. You know, Cohen Cena, the part-timer, I like the line where Reigns is like, I'll be damned if I work every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday just so you can hang out on the Today Show. You get on the bus, maybe if they pay enough money, and then you get your shovel.
But that was all stuff that Cena said to Rock.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it almost feels secondhand at that point. And Cena's kind of coming up with all this stuff. And what also really spoke to me about the promo was, there's a lot of people out there who really get behind Roman Reigns. I don't understand why. And last night was a really great example of why I don't get why. Roman really showed. I mean, the one takeaway from last night was Roman can't hang with guys who are really charismatic. He's not on the same level as the true flagship stars of a company.
His face never changed.
No.
Until he got legitimately angry. His tone, his facial expressions, his body language, it never really changed.
Yeah, and that's my biggest thing with him is that you never feel what he's feeling. Your face is so important for the crowd to connect with, and it never does anything. And I would just use this. I mean, and I've said so many different examples of what I've called Exhibit A when it comes to Roman not being able to carry the ball that the company wants him to. And this is your new Exhibit A. I mean, sure, you've got tater tot moments and moments of him just failing. I mean, if you watch him on any appearance, a televised appearance outside of Raw or wrestling in general, I don't think he carries him. Like, I don't think anyone's going to watch him on Conan and be like, oh, I want to see him wrestle on Monday. He doesn't grab people the way Hulk Hogan does, or Rock, or Austin, or Cena.
But he looks amazing, and I can't remember the last time he had a bad match.
You're not wrong.
I mean, he's got those tools. Is he missing a manager? Would that help him?
I've told you what he's missing. I told you, I've been telling you for years. It's just charisma. It's just that ability to connect with people. And you could also say promos, but that's kind of all lumped into it. It's not his wrestling or his look that's going to hold him back. It's just his ability to connect with the audience.
Do you think, and I'm not saying that this would happen, I don't think that it would, but do you think that if he became a Paul Heyman guy, he would benefit greatly from it? Do you think that is what would save him? You know, I'm telling you, if this were 1985, I'd say he needs to be a part of the Heenan family and he'd be set.
Well, you got to remember what the goal is for him. And no, I mean, the goal is for him to be the guy and to be charismatic and to be the guy, the next John Cena. And you can't just put a Band-Aid on that by saying he's a Paul Heyman guy now.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just not that simple.
And ever since Mike on the post show pointed it out, anytime I see it on a shirt or on his vest now, that new Roman Reigns logo looks like a Fandango logo.
Do you mean like what's the new one? I know the.
It's like a silhouette of him punching.
Yes, it does.
And it looks like Fandango's old shirts, and now I can't get that out of my head.
It does look silly. And see, like, I know that just this conversation about him that we're having, and I know that it is helping him. And I know that all the boos, whether people realize it or not, you know, when he walks out in Brooklyn and the crowd erupts in boos, I understand that helps him. But it does go to show, I don't think he's the guy that they want him to be.
I agree.
So, and last night really showed that. And it also, while it demonstrated what I don't like about Roman and why I don't think he is the guy, it also showed you everything that I love about Cena. And I know I've said this phrase to death, but this is where I like him. This is not the main event. This is not for a title. It's just a story-driven feud. And my God, if Cena doesn't captivate me in this capacity, I don't know how else to describe it. I am a mark for him in this capacity. I can't get enough of him like this.
John Cena has proven to me why he's the guy. First, watching him through my 6-year-old's eyes, and in this role, it's great. He just gets annoying in the chase for the championship. Like when he finally gets to the 17th and he runs for the 17th, I'm sure I'm going to groan, but it's got to happen.
Well, and here's the other thing, though. We went through a time, 2000, I'll say 5 through 2011, where he was really forced down our throats. And we had an awful lot of him, and more than him than everybody wanted. I think we can all agree on that. Everyone who was watching back then, you know, who I guess that we can just call smart fans, intelligent fans that get what they're doing. They just felt like we were really overexposed to him, and I was one of them. And then that's why I kind of said the phrase, because I never disliked him. I never disrespected him. I just never liked him in the capacity after a while, you know?
Well, he pointed it out last night when he said, I haven't been in the main event of WrestleMania for 5 years.
Right. And
I was the opening match, and he didn't even mention who he was in the opening match against at SummerSlam.
Yeah, and Roman was in the main event and has been main eventing pay-per-views since, I mean, I can't remember when the last time he didn't.
Consistently.
Yeah. So, and, you know, he made these points, Roman did, and then Cena just came back and just shot them all down. It was beautiful. It was what I love out of wrestling. I loved that segment last night, man. I loved it.
I did too. That was an A+ segment, and I thought that my favorite line from Cena was, I'm still here because you can't do your job.
I might even just for fun go back and watch it again just because I loved it so much. But there were so many lines. After every period in Cena's sentences, I felt like, oh my God, that must have stung. Oh my God, that must have stung. And it's just like it kept on going. And
so who writes the worked shoots? And when it is a worked shoot, does that mean they know what's going to be said when they go out? Or they've both agreed to get mean and not take it personally?
I don't know what kind of conversations they had about that prior. I don't know if it went off the rails at some point, if it went deeper than they wanted it to, but like that's kind of been something Cena does. I mean, you can look to, really easy examples are stuff with Cena and The Rock leading up to their WrestleMania main events, where they kind of did those things. But that also, yeah, they're works and they're shoots, like they're both. But my understanding was Rocky wasn't happy with those. Rocky got a little salty about the way those went down. So that doesn't mean that you're safe from salt, so to speak, that you're safe from heat because it's a work shoot. It just means that it was a shoot designed to sell pay-per-views.
And when you get into that kind of situation and you both get salty, you may throw one or two potatoes when you're in the ring. Like, it makes for the more interesting match.
Yeah.
Stiffer.
No matter how hard they hit each other at No Mercy, the fact of the matter is what happened last night makes me want to see the fight. And that's the point of wrestling.
Did you feel that it was necessary, or did you hate Gallows and Anderson coming out?
Well, I don't know if you've had the radio experience that I have, but have you ever, because you used to have partners, and have you ever been in a situation where you turn the mics off and there's discomfort in the room to a large capacity?
Yes. Yes, I have. We've worked them out, but when he and I did a show for a while, but it didn't last for very long.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like this was a good way to buffer that awkward moment by having a match and having them work together. You know,
it's like, that was a surprise to them, and you think they knew that was happening, or the people in the back thought, "Oh boy, we better send them out"?
Well, again, I don't know for sure. I guess neither one would surprise me. I guess I would imagine if they were going to wrestle, they would have known about it beforehand. You know?
Yeah.
But it was, it was obvious from Roman that last night's promos were not written out, and they just kind of went out there and just started throwing stuff at each other. And man, was that fun to watch. It
was. I wonder if, because I was wondering this in real time, when Roman Reigns stops, because he goes, first of all, you suck. And then Cena says something, and he goes, secondly, and then Cena interrupted him, and he was like, "You're going to let me talk? You're going to let me talk?" And then he goes blank. He either goes blank or he had something, because I think you and I have been in this situation before where it looks like it looks like we're stumped. Like, we don't know what we're going to say.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, what we have in the chamber is a nuclear bomb. I mean, there have been times in my life where I have people are like, "Oh yeah, cat got your tongue, you're speechless," and I'm just like, whew, I could eviscerate your life with what I'm about to say, and I'm holding it back, and I'm trying to think of something else, but I'm kind of distracted by the fact that I could pour gasoline on your heart and light it on fire right now. I wonder if he had that moment, or if he really truly just went blank.
Well, let me tell you what I think happened at that moment, because I remember the way it went down, because Roman Reigns said, "First of all, you suck," which is, first of all, right there, that's a weak kind of comeback.
Yeah. And
then Cena kind of threw him, because I think Roman was expecting to elaborate, and Cena kind of went to angle and said, "They said this about this guy, and he's won a gold medal." And that threw Roman. And then Roman asked Cena for permission to talk, but not just like even that felt like a work shoot. Like, he's almost asking his superior for permission.
Yeah.
So then I feel like that kind of came off bad, and he was kind of trying to regain himself from the really awful "you suck" comment, followed by asking his teacher for permission to talk, that he just didn't know what to do. He was totally thrown off. It was beautiful to me.
It's almost like somebody wrote his lines, and there's a guy that comes in for a local baseball team, and he's got all the promotions for the homestand coming. And if you interrupt, he closes his eyes and he starts rattling them off. And if he says something interesting in the middle of a sentence and you stop him and you give him a comment, he can't get back to it. So I wonder if that's what happened with Cena, like or with Reigns, where he knows what he's going to say, but then Cena throws in the angle thing and he goes, "Oh no, it's out of order now. What do I do?"
I wasn't expecting that spontaneity. Talking's not my strong suit. What do I do? Yeah, that's what it was last night. And man, I don't even know if there's anything else to talk about from Raw. I mean, I've got results on my phone, but I mean, who cares? This was the moment of Raw.
That was the moment. I was figuring that the name of this would be, something about Reigns and Cena shoot on each other.
Yeah, it's hold on, I'll give you the exact title in a second. I have to move. John Cena verbally destroys Roman Reigns at No Mercy contract signing WWE Raw.
Can this in any way help Roman Reigns?
I will say that, like, you use the term recovered nicely, and I agree and I disagree, because I think that last night was a real low point for Roman. But I will say this, you could edit it down to also be the best promo he's ever cut. But no one's going to remember that. If you started it at a certain point after he got shook and you ended it before Cena eviscerates him and before Cena retorts, you could say Roman did a good job. But no one's going to remember that because Roman got shook.
Because Roman, his brain shut down. Oh, and Cena called him out. It's called a promo. If you're going to be the guy, you better learn how to cut one. Holy smokes. I had already sat up at that point, but I just started going, oh.
So I was going to say that might have been the moment for me, but I know I was already perked up at that point. And then, like you said, like the only reason I'm here as a part-timer is because you can't cut it as a full-timer. The stuff he's saying. And just like, there was one more example of just, he said something about like so much for the fourth wall. And like, that was the thing. Cause like, I think that he knows he's not supposed to say some of those things that he said. And that's when Roman kind of started pulling his, wiener out to say like, okay, well, you're a part-timer and all this stuff. And you don't work on weekends. And it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
You get on the bus with your shovel and you bury people in the back. And I was like, oh, man, we are getting real. We are getting real. You are a corporately created piece of garbage. And I was like, holy smokes, we are off to the races.
So it sounds like you had the same reaction too. And it just seems like wrestling fans in general, because it's all I'm seeing on like Facebook sites that I follow wrestling wise. And I mean, everyone seems to just have that same reaction from that moment last night.
People were saying that it was a legit shoot, that was not planned, but that could just be part of the work. I feel like they knew what they were doing when they went out.
I think not planned in the sense that nothing was planned, if that makes sense. Like, they didn't say, I'm going to talk about how you're a part-timer, and he didn't say to Roman, I'm going to say that you can't cut a promo. They're just going to say, let's get people talking.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. So yeah, man, I loved it. And I'm glad that you did too. And I'm excited to see, like, I mean, they took me from a level 2 excitement to like a level 9.
Yeah, that was good. That was real excitement. And it was good.
Is there anything else? Hold on. Let me see if there's anything else we need to talk about. Let me just see what I wrote down.
Well, if we were going to say anything else, I would say that I know they're trying to bury Enzo, and Enzo could be Dunzo, but
that's cute.
For the first time, I paid attention to a 205 Live match. For the first time,
yeah,
I'm paying. I mean, like, in a way, he might not. People are going to criticize him and say he doesn't have the skill set to keep up with him. Blah 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 blah. But guess what? They're all like A talent in the ring, and nobody is interesting at all. So maybe Enzo accidentally helps 205 and brings it up instead of it burying him.
And like, if 4 out of 5 Raws we see him in a cruiserweight match, he could still sell the same merch he sells, I guess, maybe.
Right.
I don't know. There's that. I did want to mention, hold on. I had a few things. I was happy. I know you're going to disagree with me, I think, but and I do feel bad saying I'm happy, but I'm sorry that Booker couldn't be there because of the situation. But I was happy to see the King there.
Yeah, I like the King in that capacity. It's a little goofy with the pelvis Wesley thing, but
yeah, that was silly. I noticed that Emma got new music and she got a win, but man, her mic work was Roman level bad last night.
I created the women's division. At least they're doing something. Like there's a story they're trying to create.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just weak, and I'm so sad because we used to have such a great women's revolution, and now Emma's really the keystone of it right now because it's just tough to watch everything that's going on with it. Nia Jackson, Alexa Bliss could be interesting. I don't know which one's going to be the baby face.
I don't know. Probably Nia Jax, but that's a mistake. She's always smiling and being cute, but she's supposed to be the monster. Remember when they introduced her, she and Braun Strowman were getting the same jobber-type treatment.
Yes.
And now they went two different ways. Now she's smiling, and it's weird.
All right, man. Well, I think that we said all we wanted to say about Raw last night. It really was a one-segment show. Those shows are really better at 2 hours, but SmackDown tonight, is there another, did I see it? Is it another AJ Owens match tonight?
I hope not.
They were advertising something, but I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't remember.
It can't be. It can't be. It's got to be Owens addresses stuff with Shane, but it can't be. Okay. I'm looking now.
Yeah, I could tell you were looking at something, so I was trying to see if you could find anything.
No, I'm looking for that now, but I don't. It can't be. Okay. I don't see anything on it, so I don't know.
All right, well, I'm gonna wrap things up then. Man, I appreciate. I mean, it feels like it was a quick episode, but I feel like we talked about what we needed to talk about. We got everything we want. You know, the Brock Lesnar stuff. You know, he showed up, and that was that. He wasn't even necessary last night. He was kind of a wasted segment, I thought, on him. But okay, we'll catch you tomorrow after SmackDown. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll get this up. Remember, I don't know if people caught yesterday's episode. I thought yesterday's episode was pretty solid, personally. I thought it was great, but nobody's commented on the post. Yeah, so if you get around to watching it, let us know what you thought about the heat seekers in the locker room. SmackDown's recap is tomorrow. We'll catch you then.